Okay, Pops, it is now becoming a trend. Multiple automakers are letting their customers know that, hey, in the not too distant future, we might, emphasis on might, be able to sell cars directly to you. This week, we have heard now from Mercedes-Benz, Daimler, as well as BMW and Mini that they're thinking about selling directly to consumer. Now, Pops, burst my bubble here. Burst it. Go ahead and burst it.
Well, let's give all the information. Yes, they're thinking of selling direct to consumer in Europe. Okay, so unless you're planning on taking a European delivery, things in this country aren't changing. At least not anytime soon. Now, I know that your theory is, and I tend to agree with it to a certain extent. Your theory is that what they're trying to implement in Europe, they will eventually, once they perfect it there, try to bring it to the United States. And to a certain degree, I think you're correct. But it's much easier for them to change how the dealer networks operate in Europe than it is for them to try and change how they operate here in the 50 states plus the District of Columbia.
Now, I agree with you, and I understand and I can appreciate that. However, this is the reason I say it's a trend is because last week we were talking about Volkswagen and their Scout, which is going to be their new brand where they sell electric vehicles, and there is all sorts of hoopla. Is that the right word? Hubbub.
Consternation on behalf of the Volkswagen's dealer body.
And earlier this year, we had the Ford Model E announcement, which was, hey, Ford dealers, we're going to break out two business units. Our internal combustion engine vehicles, sure, we can sell them through you still. Our Model E dealers, you're going to get our EVs. There's no inventory. You can't change the price. You're just service centers. And what they're calling this in Europe, Dad, is an agency model. So we're moving away from the franchise dealer model to the agency model. Audi, with their e-tron and other EVs, has already moved in this direction in Europe. Mercedes-Benz now saying that they're doing the same. Interestingly, and to your point, in China, they're actually opening more dealerships right now. So it is certainly regionalized at present.
Well, that would make me think that the rules, regulations, and laws in communist China are, in regards to franchises, are a lot different than they are in Europe, and certainly than they are here in the United States. And one would suspect if Audi is going to a direct-to-consumer model, at least with their electric vehicles, that Volkswagen can't be far behind since, well, they own Audi. So.
Now, let me break down for you the distinction between agency versus franchise. This comes from the Automotive News article that's talking about how BMW and Mini are thinking of moving to the agency model. And it's worth noting, Pops, you loved the BMW clown car, as you affectionately refer to them, the i-Series. BMW, all the way back in 2013, actually piloted this agency concept with the launch of the i-Series. They soon after disbanded that. South Africa, actually, in 2020, also had this agency model. Now, agency versus franchise, what's the distinction? In the franchise retail model, dealers buy stock from automakers and assume the cost of promotion as well as holding inventory. The independent retailers make profits from the margin on vehicles sold, but those amounts can vary depending on negotiations with individual customers. Sums it up nicely. The agency model transfers much of that cost to the automakers. Dealers would receive a fixed fee per vehicle sold, comparable to a commission. They would make less money per vehicle, but would make up the difference by not having to incur costly inventory and promotional expenses, proponents say. What do you make of that, Dad? Is there really a true handoff here of less costs, less revenue, more profit?
I'm not sure. They're trying to sell the dealer body on the fact that they will become commissioned salespeople, much like the dealer body convinces young and old people alike to, hey, why don't you come work for us and sell cars, and we'll pay you a commission for each car that you sell. So I guess part of it will depend on what the commission structure or the delivery fee structure is for these dealers. How much are they going to get paid per car to do this on behalf of the manufacturer? And, in this country and probably in Europe as well, a big part of a dealership's business is service. And as all these manufacturers want to move towards electric vehicles, my understanding, being the nitwit that I am, is that, well, these electric vehicles, these electric engines, electric motors, powertrains, don't require near the same level of service, and the tendency for stuff to break down is significantly reduced. So you're going to ask dealers to give up what is most near and dear to their hearts, and that's the profit of being able to service the vehicle after they force the customer to negotiate the best price on the vehicle, all the while the dealership is trying to, well, maximize its profit.
But Dad, if you get rid of, and we've already seen it, let's be very clear here, in the United States since the pandemic, staff levels at dealerships have gone down, right? Like the amount of people on the sales side. Quite frankly, on the service side, they need as much help as they could possibly get. But on the sales side, we've already seen a decline in the number of people that are working. You take costs down enough, you can make money as long as you have revenue coming in. You know, I think there's. You've said this to me in the past. To get into the car business, to own a dealership, you got to be pretty savvy, pretty well-heeled is the term that you've used on our shows in the past. Those businessmen and women know that, okay, so long as I can make a profit, I'm going to be in business. I'm going to be happy. I bet you there's some dealers out there who are excited about this change because they see the opportunity to dramatically and drastically decrease the cost associated with running their operation. You've shared stories with me about when you used to work in the dealerships, like making payroll was a big deal.
Of course it is. And yes, it will require less people. It will require less marketing dollars. It will require less promotional dollars. You know, what nobody's talking about is the number of people that are going to end up unemployed going to this type of model. The manufacturer and the dealers are going to look at a cost-benefit analysis, and the poor people that are unemployed are going to go, those sons of... I'll be good. You know, they've just ruined my life. You know, especially for car salespeople, because most of them, and I was one of them, most of them and I, we don't have a tremendous amount of skills other than the ability to talk. You know, and yeah, I guess we like you and I have all these car people can end up on YouTube, but you know how much money are we all going to make?
Let's leave it there for today. We'll have to do a follow-up on how we both feel differently about what happens to people when there's innovation. I know something we don't see eye to eye on are the self-checkouts at the grocery store, but please, let's just leave it there. And
I won't go to there. I'm not going to touch self-checkout today.
And there you have it. All right, Pops. We'll link to the automotive news articles down below. Let's see what comes out next week. I would not be surprised if there's another article talking about direct-to-consumer, but who knows? Maybe it's just a fad. Maybe it'll pass.